you film the movie, and then you sell it on DVD to people.
A chalet with a normal bed, some warm water. That's my style.
Teachers from around the world, welcome to episode 5 of Teacher Talk Time. Real teachers, real talk. My name is Claire and I'm from South Africa, sunny South Africa. Thank goodness it's shining today, the sun. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. I'd like to bring on my co-host, Mr. Robert Salo.
Hey!
Robert, how are you today?
Good. How you doing, Claire?
Very well, thank you. Can you believe it's episode 5 already?
No, not at all.
It's gone rather quickly.
It has. It's just rolling right along.
Do you think that the nerves perhaps make it go faster?
Could be. It could be. Or that catchy intro tune.
I agree. Robert, I've got a treat for you today. I have brought, let's just say, a citizen from my country and a citizen from your country as well. Alrighty, let us talk about who our guests are today. So we have Mr. Theo Tomassi and Kristina Ramirez from your homeland. All right. And with them, we're going to be chatting about plain English. Okay, so how Kristina enables her students to learn in unconventional ways. All right, so she teaches English that English textbooks can't. Okay, and then we have Mr. Theo Tomassi, all right, all the way from South Africa. And there I'm going to chat about what challenges South Africans are facing when they're trying to get into the industry. And once they're there, hey, we can maybe talk about a little bit of load shedding that comes up every now and again and will apparently for the next 5 years. And afterwards, I would like to invite our viewers to post lots of questions. We'd like to talk about what's going on today in English. In particular, I'd like to find out what is stopping teachers from firing their bosses and starting their own businesses.
Doesn't it usually go the other way around?
Well, that's the beauty about this career path is we can fire our bosses and take it to a whole new level by ourselves.
Careful, Claire, our boss might be watching.
Yes, I didn't think that through. Okay, Robert, let me hand it over to you. We're going to invite Kristina on and chat about plain English.
Hey, Kristina.
Hey! How are you doing, Robert?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
Awesome. Ramirez, can you tell us a little bit about your ESL career and the students that you teach?
Yeah. So I guess I started probably about 12 years ago.
Okay.
I got certified to teach English as a second language back in college. And then after that, right after I graduated, I went to Peru and taught English there. I actually lived in Spain for a couple of years, taught English there to mostly kids, but kids and adults. And then came back to the United States, and it was kind of off and on for a while. And throw a couple of kids in the mix, and it's kind of a roller coaster ride. And so then after that, I started teaching online a lot, and that's what I'm doing as of right now. So it's been great.
That's really awesome, Kristina. You mentioned your philosophy is that English textbooks don't teach. Can you explain that a little bit?
So for the record, I'm not anti-textbooks, but they are great for getting a base of vocabulary and grammar. But if you really want to actually communicate effectively with people, you can't rely solely on textbooks, because there are just some things that textbooks can't teach. You know, and the reason why I believe this so passionately is because when I was learning Spanish, I learned throughout high school and college, and then, you know, lived in various Spanish-speaking countries. What, you know, what I realized was that my textbooks from school weren't really helping me so much. And all of a sudden, you know, I would leave Peru understanding about 90 to 95% of what people said to me there. And then I went to the north of Spain and understood about 40% of what people said to me there. Yeah, it was a little intimidating. Then after a few months there, I finally got to the point where I was understanding almost everything they said to me. Moved to the south of Spain in Sevilla and understood about 30 to 40% of what people said to me there. I was warned by the people living in the north of Spain saying, you know, when you get down there, it's going to be difficult to understand. Even we don't understand them very well. So, you know, observing the people who are native to that language, observing people in their culture, listening and watching them, that real life application and real life exposure is so, so crucial. And it just provides things that a textbook can't.
Would you say that it adds context?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure that's called immersion when you're like in the culture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you get so many other aspects of it too. You know, you get the expressions and the ways people are talking, the way the intonation of their voice, and, you know, the way that they say it. Whereas unless the textbook has, you know, audio, but even then they don't often give you the slang ways or the informal ways that people say things, then, you know, those, again, that context and that real life exposure really helps you to understand what the standards of that culture are, and therefore the standards of their communication.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that a lot. Just being from South Florida, they all just sort of come together there, and nobody can understand each other.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to learn Spanish there, it's like, oh, don't listen to them. We can't understand them. Oh, don't listen to them.
Yep. I actually teach Spanish too. And one of the things when I have a Spanish course, so one of the first videos I show my students is it's different Latinos imitating each other's accents. And it's hilarious. It's a really good video. And it basically, you know, you have Caribbean Spanish and Central American and South American, and, you know, Uruguay and Argentina is different. And they're all just making fun of each other in a good natured kind of way.
Awesome. So how did you grow your YouTube channel? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I grew it. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. I think I started it. Must have been the beginning of 2017. And I started my Facebook page around that time. The timeline gets a little fuzzy here and there, but it was around that time. And I just started posting because I got so many questions about English when I was helping other people informally. And, you know, some of my students really wanted something, and I wanted to answer them all at once rather than, you know, just one-offs here and there. And that grew like crazy. I created a little free course on a platform, and I boosted that post on Facebook. And since it was free, everybody just, you know, gravitated towards it. And I think that's how I got my first almost 10,000 followers on Facebook almost immediately, just with that one post. Yeah. So people love free stuff.
Yeah, that's heavy value.
Yeah. So, you know, it just kind of grew from there. You know, I realized how much I enjoyed making videos and how much I enjoyed reaching out to students from all over the world. And it just, you know, evolved.
Excellent. What were some difficulties with setting up a YouTube channel? What are some things that kind of got in the way?
Technical knowledge. I don't have the most patience when it comes to technology. And so linking your Google account if you want to change profile photos, or if you link the wrong Google account because you have a personal account, and little things like that. I mean, uploading the artwork and stuff like that was fine, but the background things that nobody else who sees your channel thinks about, those were frustrating. Getting the notifications to go to the right place and all of that. And I think besides that, probably just, sometimes the amount of time it takes to upload a video to YouTube or to Facebook for that matter also, that can be a little bit frustrating. And sometimes, things can go wrong. Something, it happens. We have to take it all in stride.
Absolutely. How do you deal with the algorithm? How does that affect what you do?
It affects a lot. It really does. You have to study it. It's just something, if this is going to be your trade and in creating an online business, and if YouTube or Facebook or any social media platform for that matter is going to be key for you to get your content out there, then you have to study the algorithm. Luckily, we have this little thing called Google that's really helpful. And I think back a few years ago, I got a book on YouTube algorithm, not the algorithm, but starting a business on YouTube, which, I mean, at this point, yes, a lot of that is still going to apply, but 3 years later, a lot is also going to have changed too. So staying up to date on all of those things is really important. And at first it can seem a little tedious, I guess, especially when your passion is really teaching and not so much studying intricate algorithms of, Facebook and YouTube CEOs and all that stuff. But, again, it's your business and it's your passion. This is just the admin side of the work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's like learning about a really complicated tool, but it's still a necessary tool.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I'll be completely honest. I had no clue how, all of this stuff with YouTube worked beforehand. I found out through other YouTubers and the Google searches and the book that I mentioned and all of that. I realized that I needed to change the titles of my video to make them more searchable. I had no idea before that when I started posting the beginning videos that I have from when I first started my YouTube channel. I've actually contemplated taking them down, but I'm not going to. But because, we all start from without any knowledge and we all start from nothing. And, you just grow from there. I didn't have the appropriate equipment, so the audio sounds terrible. And, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the name of that textbook, Step by Step.
Yeah. It's one thing is a stepping stone to another. And I actually was on a webinar the other day about those, preliminary YouTube videos that you put up. And she said something that was very insightful. Another reason why I won't take my beginner YouTube videos down is because if you get to the point where you want to work with brands and things like that, then they need to see how you've grown. They need to see how you've progressed. You're not just staying stagnant and, same style of videos all the time. They want to see progression so that they can grow with you. So that is also another reason to not feel embarrassed by, your work from when you're just starting off and just starting to learn.
Absolutely. Marketing changes over time, and the tools change over time. And I hear a lot of people complaining about it online that Google and other companies will look at how you've done things in the past. Well, they want to see you change.
Yeah, they absolutely do, because it's also good for their platform too, right? Because they have to maintain the interest of their audience. We're not going to maintain interest. Nobody is if everything stays the same. So, change is uncomfortable, but if you, aren't afraid of it, then, just embrace it. We have to embrace it. Life changes. Our businesses have to change. Our teaching styles change. Everything changes.
Yep. I think someone once said the only certainty is change.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know who said that, but I definitely agree with them.
I don't know either.
I agree, though. It's a good thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you, Kristina.
Absolutely. Thanks, Robert.
Excellent. So, Claire, did you have any questions for our guest?
No, Robert, I think that you actually tackled all of them and handled all of them. And I love, Kristina, how you mentioned that do you take your old videos down? Because in your opinion, they look horrendous. But there's this kind of method behind the madness of keeping them there. And so I really enjoyed that. Yes, definitely. So thank
Especially when
you.
you're so critical of yourself too, which I think a lot of us can be. We start to feel maybe insecure or start to think, oh, I can't believe I said that or I did that, or, that the audio, like I said, sounds terrible or this or that. It's really easy to get into that vicious cycle of criticizing yourself constantly. But, you have to stay away from that.
Definitely. The imposter syndrome is real.
Yes, it is. It is real.
Yeah.
For sure.
I feel that I experienced that myself when it comes to which lessons should be put into the recorded vault so that people are encouraged to watch them again. And I want to say, no.
Right. No to everything. I don't like any of it.
Exactly. But that's only my opinion, where other people thought that they were really valuable. So you've sort of got to block out that little voice in your head.
Yeah, it's true. And it helps when, when you start to see the support that you're getting from other people too, whether it's students or friends or family or, whoever, wherever, whenever, then I think that's kind of reassuring too, that, okay, this is helping people. Other people think that this is great. And, you need to just relax and quit being so hard on yourself. And just like Nike says, just do it.
I love it.
Just do it.
Great. Kristina, thank you so much for your amazing input. It was
Thanks,
so
Taylor.
valuable.
Good.
Thank
I'm glad.
you.
Thanks,
Alrighty.
guys.
And thank you, Mr. Salo.
Welcome.
Alrighty. Cool. Thanks, guys. Okay, let me bring on Mr. Theo Tomassi. Hello, Theo. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hello, Claire. It's my honor.
Awesome. Where's your penguin? I've been waiting to see your penguin.
Well, here we go. But remember, we have Baby Shark, Baby Shark. You can't have a penguin without having a shark.
Do they have names, Theo?
I just call them Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Oh, well, that's perfect. How can you forget that?
Every day they're getting a new name. It depends on how I feel.
Okay. How creative are you feeling that day?
Yes, and also the thing is, it's like when I go into a class and I say to the children, what song do you want to hear? It's either Bingo or Baby Shark. So, it's like when in Baby Shark, you have to do it with them. So I've decided, no, I can't do that. I can't. So I just go with, and then in that part where it says run away, then I go like run away, it's running, because me, trying to run, the children's gonna, no teacher, no. So I don't want to scare them. So this is very helpful. I love these. And if they don't listen, I will sometimes go like this, hello, what did you do? And then penguin spoke to you. And the children like, yes, teacher, it works.
That's amazing. I don't think I'm going to try that with my students because they're adults, but maybe it is an option. We'll see.
Let me say to you like this. I'm started now 2 weeks ago teaching adults like a community thing. In one of the WhatsApp groups that I am, we call it the global family, where there's people from Turkey, Iran, all over. And we so twice a week, I do a class with them, getting into the adults, because I'm not used to teaching adults. It's now almost 5 years going for children. So, and, it's like you get to that point where you're like, okay, now I want to do the adults, and all of that. And the other day, I don't know what I did, but the one guy wasn't, paying attention. I went and I was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, did you hear? And they all burst out laughing because it's like a group class on Zoom. And I said, okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. That was meant for the children. And they're like, no, we like that. And they were paying attention throughout the class because they didn't want to hear like, what are you doing? So it does work on adults, so you can. But just don't do the Baby Shark. Even my phone's ringtone is Baby Shark.
Oh, at least you remember the words. But Theo, tell me now. So you said that you started teaching 5 years ago. You've been teaching children. How did you get into the ESL market?
Okay, basically what happened is I was looking for I come from corporate environment as a team leader. So I saw this position at a call center that said, team leader available. So I applied and I got in. I'm like, okay, what the fricadel is this? You had these little cubicles and people sitting there teaching. So I was like, okay. And then I said, no, this is a teaching center. And it was a teaching center that we had for iTutor Group. So I was like, okay, so I need to look at them, but I don't know how to do the teaching. Then I was given the option to start teaching, and I started teaching adults and I absolutely love it. And then I was diagnosed, I became very ill and I was diagnosed with lupus. And my doctor said to me, in that environment, it's not good for me because it's an autoimmune disease where your body, your immune system, your body attacks your body basically. So one day you're on a high, the next day you're on a low. So, and you never have energy. So I'm drinking this one medication that gives me the energy. It's like because I need it for the children. And then I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? And I basically had a choice, either, go home and stuff or start teaching. And I started teaching online and I thought, okay, what's going to happen? How am I going to do this? What's going to happen? It's like on my first day, I was sitting there and in the middle of the class, the power just went off. But luckily for me, I already had my inverter and everything. And I was like, okay, no one taught me about load shedding, And then I was like, cool. And all I did was, it happened like this. I was teaching and I'm like, oh, golly, there power goes. And all I did was, okay, there's my little switch, power back on. You see, we do have a solution for load shedding, which I know we're going to talk about. And I was like, and my student said to me, teacher, what happened? I'm like, oh, no, I just, bumped the plaque with my foot. I didn't want to say it was load shedding. And he's like, naughty feet, teacher. I'm like, yes, very naughty feet. We will talk to that foot, And
Is
that
that
is
that
it.
foot's name, Mr. Escom?
Yes, that was Mr. Escom, It's like, and yeah, so you have to have something that you do. And I found with, there are days when you sit and you like get up and you like feel like, okay, you can't breathe. It's like, to say it like this, it's like, if you Google the symptoms between COVID and the symptoms between, systematic lupus, you will see there are a lot of, similarities. Like these days when you get up, you feel you can't breathe. And then you go like, you're like, okay, I need to push, my student want me. It's like, my hubby said to me the one day I was really sick and he was at home and all of that. And I was sleeping and I was like, my alarm goes up and I get up. And he said to me, he doesn't know how I do it because the moment my camera goes, I'm like, hello, welcome, and do that. And, you learn how to push. But at the end of the day, you are so exhausted and you're in pain and everything. And a lot of people don't understand it. But what's giving me, time to go on and motivate me to push through this is my teaching because it
It's your
makes you
students,
feel like, yes, they want me, they need me. And for that 35 minutes or 30 minutes to 35 minutes that your class is long, you actually sit there sometimes feel like, okay, your joints are aching, you can't type, but you get somehow you get the energy and you like get through. And at the end you feel like, okay, it was a good day, even though when I got it, I felt so unproductive. I felt like, okay, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna die soon and everything because it's like, but when you start doing something like this, you getting like, wow, I can actually do this. It gives you that motivation, that oomph, where you can say, you know what? I'm not lupus, I'm Theo with this thing. And that is the whole mindset, like Kristina said,
You
you have
Theo,
to
it's
do a
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Tweedledee. And you know what? If I can't hear you, let me put on my ears. Now I can hear. Oh, by the way, Claire, where's your ears? Come on, come on. So yeah, you learn how to do these things and you sometimes do things to just for a moment forget about that stuff, and you concentrate on your students, and seeing those little happy faces, it gives you such a joy. It's like when I get up in the mornings, it's like I'm like, okay, it's my babies. Who am I going to teach today? It is my children, for that 30 minutes or whatever, they are my children, and I am responsible to give them the best education that I can. And no matter how I do it, we do it. And I have students like when they come into the class, and then I'm like, okay. Like one of my first students that I had was Molly. She was Princess. I have to tell you about her. Every time I had to come in the class, I had to go, Your Majesty. And she's like, okay, teach now, we can teach. That made her so happy. And this
Oh,
is the
that's
thing with
super.
teaching is you need to learn how your students are and what they do. And yes, I
Exactly.
can't see myself doing anything else. This is like, let's go crazy.
Theo, that's amazing. Yes, like I mentioned earlier, I teach adults, and it does take a lot of energy out of you. But when you get to see your favorite people every single day, it makes it all worth it, really.
But
One
but
thing,
yeah.
one
Sorry.
thing I'd really like to ask you about is so a little side note here. Theo and I got in touch via a WhatsApp group. Okay. An online teachers WhatsApp group. Yep, don't give me that face. And okay, guys, it is saturated though. But I find, and when people say, "So Claire, what are you doing? Are you still working with COVID?" Da, 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 da. And I say, "Yes, I'm teaching English online." Oh, I speak English. How do I get into the market? So, Theo, please give us some advice on how this can be done. Because so
Okay.
basically, there's a tip from my end: is get connected. And I'm sure that you'll agree with me.
Okay. It's basically what is. And I'm sorry to say this, but there are a lot of people who shouldn't even think about becoming online teachers because in, I, part of the things that I do is like, you know, volunteer on the WhatsApp groups where I help to train people how to do it and all of that. Now, a lot of people they do their TEFL certificate. Now, the TEFL certificate doesn't they don't tell you, okay, let's do this. Like they don't really cover online teaching. Then you get someone and they're like, okay, let's do teaching. And then I say to them, okay, here's a lesson plan, present it to me. I'm a level three or a level one, I can hardly speak English. Then they go like, hello, how are you? What's your name? They're like, I pretend like I do what the students do in the class. And then they're like, it's like they want to do it. Everyone thinks, okay, because I can speak English, I can teach English. It doesn't work like that. They don't understand how difficult it is to do this because the thing is, you need to have a passion for it. You need to learn how to cope under stress. Like being South African, to get a job as a South African, it is difficult. Reason number one, load shedding. Mr. Escom. Reason number two, and I found it in a lot of the classes where people say to me, teacher, where are you from? And then I'm like, from South Africa. And then I go like, but teacher, you are white. There's that conception that there's no white people in Africa. Number three is they all think that, we say something. I had an interview with a company where a woman wrote on the board, I won't mention the company, where she said, what is this? And I said to her, it's vehicle. She said to me, are you sure? I said to her, yes, it's a vehicle. She's like, are you sure? I said to her, yes, unfortunately, some people will pronounce it as vehicle or vehicle, but it's pronounced vehicle. And I felt so embarrassed because of people, what they see of South Africa, what's being broadcast over media, everyone thinks like because one or two people speak like that, everyone does. No, we don't. We are actually a native country. And the other thing is what I found is you see a lot, that's something that I see a lot on the WhatsApp groups is where people say, oh, what do I do for a backup power? Hello, we've been living with load shedding for,
It's been
I
10
think,
years, Theo. 10
no,
years.
no, actually, it's no. We started load shedding in 2007, my dear Claire. So we are going into 14 years of load shedding. And if you haven't by this time, figured it out how to do it, you don't. It's like I have my battery, and I have a battery and an inverter connected. Then I have a spare one, a backup for the backup. Okay, so you need to have, as an online teaching, you need to have backups of backups to make sure that if anything happens, you can do that. And I found that with when I train people and teach them how to do the online teaching, then they say like it is an apple and a apple, and not an a apple, but it's an apple. Then I'm like, but why? Then they're like, because that's how it is. And and then I'm like, okay, you don't know your grammar rules. Yes, but I'm a native speaker. If you do not know your grammar rules, you are not an English teacher. Sorry to say that. Because if a student is going to say to you, why do we say that and you can't answer, and you're going to give the answer because it is like that, they are not going to come back to you. You need to know your grammar rules. Look, I'm not perfect. It's like I sometimes, while I'm in a class and they ask me something and I don't know, I'm honest to say I don't know anything. Everything. Sorry, not anything. I don't know everything. Sometimes there is something. Then I will say to my students, I'm not 100% sure. Let me just double check for you. And I found that your students respect you so much. And then they like, thank you, teacher, because, and like with me, with this, and I'm teaching the this European, the global, my family group, like we call our WhatsApp group. It's like when I say to them, guys, I'm not 100% sure, then they say to me, then I'm like, okay, let me quickly look. And the one said to me, Theo, I have so much respect for you because it shows that you are just like us. Not everyone knows everything. In our language, we don't know everything. Look, I can speak Afrikaans, but when it comes to spelling, I was like, Paul, how do you spell this? How do you do this? Afrikaans spelling is horrible, but it's like that, and people can do that. So yeah, so I'm blabbing along here.
No, absolutely. I found that I've had to, before I go to bed at night, I've ditched Netflix and I've started doing crosswords because I need to grow my vocabulary at the rate that my students' vocabulary is growing. And all these different words are coming up. I definitely learn one new word in class every day. And if sometimes students go, but how do you not know what that word means? Guys, I don't go to bed at night reading the dictionary, so now I do crosswords, and it definitely helps me along. Theo, we actually have run out of time. I didn't think that this was going to happen. I know. So let's bring back Robert and Kristina. Oh, guys. Alrighty,
Hey, guys.
super. Well,
wait, the sun. Okay.
Please, please show us the formal look with the ears. Oh, love it.
I like that.
Yes, it's okay. I'm ready for church.
You just need a black shirt now to go underneath that.
No, I'm not mourning yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No tuxedos yet.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for
I hope
having
that
us.
you've enjoyed yourself. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm not sure if any of our viewers know this, but this is season 1, and we do intend to have many more seasons. So if you would like, we'd love to have you guys back on again in the future. That would be amazing.
Claire, you just need to remember next time to speak to my agent first.
Your assistant.
Now,
Good. Perfect. I'll do that. And then we'll just arrive with you here. We won't need to liaise beforehand.
Yes, it's like royalty, us royalties.
Are you friends with Meghan and Harry?
I'm more of the William and the Kate and the Queen, So.
Right.
Taking it to a whole new level.
It's like if you want to go big, you go to the top. Not the middle, the top.
With Lizzie. Awesome, guys. Thanks
Yes.
again.
Thank you,
And
guys.
Thank you.
thank you for your time. Cheers,
Thanks.
Theo. Bye,
Bye.
Kristina. Amazing. How awesome were they, Robert?
They were top of the line. That amazing guests. It was awesome having them.
Loved it. Loved it. Well, yeah, we actually don't have time to get to what we wanted to chat to, which I'm happy with. I think that we covered a lot of bases, and I certainly picked up a few tricks there. Alrighty. Well, Mr. Solo, thank you once again.
Thank
Episode
you,
5,
Claire.
done and dusted. I'll see you next week, Robert.
Claire, what about our
before we
sponsors?
I would like to also thank our sponsors.
Okay.
There you go. Teaching Revolution, always supporting us week in and week out. Super. All right, Robert. Take care. Have a good week and be good. All right. Cheers. Bye, Robert.
Bye.